Hello guys, welcome back to narsicloud.com. So in our last video we talked about the core concepts of Route 53, the basic domain registration and how DNS queries work. So that's a part one of this video. If you guys want to refer to that, go to YouTube and search for narsicloud. Maybe let me show you that. So explained about this flow, how when the client queries for some domain, what happens behind the scenes, because this concept is required to understand the Route 53 concepts. So look for that before you watch this video. So let's get back to the dashboard where we can search for Route 53. So I recently visited that, so you can see that under the list, or otherwise you can also search here in AWS console. So Route 53, so this is the dashboard of Route 53. So just for a couple of lines, what is Route 53? Route 53 is a DNS service provided by AWS. It is scalable and reliable. It will let you register a domain, and it will let you to create policies which controls the traffic of DNS queries for your domain. And if you look up here, it maintains the DNS, so DNS management, traffic management, availability monitoring, and domain registration. So first step is the domain registration. So just for this tutorial purposes, I'm not registering the domain because that takes some time, uh, but I'll just go over the concept of what is that, and how does that look like. um, so as you guys know, any website, if you want to launch, or if anything you want to run in a computer, and want to expose that to public, then it's basically any application is queried by domain. So domain is the first step that you would do. So you register domain. um, how you register domain here. So if you go on, click on that register domain, so here you can look for your domain name, so see if it is available, right? So if I go for narsicloud, I will check for that. I already purchased that previously, so that's not available. um, so you can try for other domains, so they have their own price. So once you select one of them, add to cart and continue, and continue here, and it will ask for your registration contract, registrant contract, and all of that information. So once you click on continue and confirm, it will go ahead and you can purchase that and create the domain, right? So that will take few hours to get the domain registered. So once you do that, you can see that list, the domain list under your registered domain. Until then, you would see that under pending requests, right? So that's the basic step of registering the domain. So what happens when you register the domain? So like I explained in our previous video, so they would our registrar, which is here Route 53, will update all your name servers, and create hosted zones for you, and they will update back to root server, right? um, so if you go back to the previous video, yeah. So here, when you register the domain, assume that we just registered our domain, right? So what Route 53 does, it takes it creates those hosted zones with the name servers, which is basically connected to your IP address, or any endpoint that is going to serve your web requests, and it will update all these TLD servers and root servers. So that means if I register narsicloud.com, it updates the .com information here, and then it will also update the reference to the TLD servers, which has the information of example or narsicloud.com to their name servers. So that information will be propagated over there. That completes your domain registration, and once you do that, you would go and see into hosted zones. Those hosted zones would have been created here for you. If you were to create manually, what you would do is you will type narsicloud, narsicloud.com and test zone. And here create hosted zone, it will create all of that information for you, right? So once you create the hosted zones, what you would see here is a bunch of entries, and um, you would see the name of your name servers, and the name server like a record and alias or C Africa type C, all of that. So each record has its own meaning. um, all of those details we can explore later, but in this video, just for the introduction purposes, um, in um, in name server we have different types of records under hosted zones, and each record has its own meaning, and a type record, eventually one of those records will point to your IP address, which will let you redirect your DNS queries to that. So if you were to go and create here, that's what you would see. And coming to health checks, um, so it maintains Route 53 provides this capability that you can, if you look up here, you can use Route 53 health checks for monitoring and alerts, right? How your domain is behaving, and how to route your traffic when you query for your domain, right? And there are different policies that you can create. um, Based on those rules, what it does is it redirects your requests to a particular location. For example, if you have rules for geo rules, like geospatial level rules, uh, the requests that are coming from this location, okay, so redirect that to all the traffic to this server, to server A, and from this geolocation to server B, or percentage of requests to server A or server B. So that kind of level rules you can configure, and your application can be contacted according to these rules. So that's what you could do. All those policies can be configured in this traffic policies. So if you look up in the sample diagram here, you have a primary and secondary health check. Based on the weightage, the traffic will be configured, will be routed to different endpoints. If you see here, the 90% of the traffic based on the health check weightage, because this is more healthier than this one, right? So it directs traffic to that endpoint. See, if you look at this endpoint here, this is different. Each endpoint is different, and this is a primary, and if it fails over to secondary, it directs the traffic to S3 endpoint. So this is the domain. Eventually the domain that you're querying for is connected to these endpoints. This endpoint could be direct IP address, it could be endpoint of elastic load balancer, like explained yesterday. Elastic load balancer, it could be endpoint of S3, or anything that could serve your web request. And the policy records, you can create a traffic policy and configure the roles and different types of policies actually. And we have different types of options here, the resolvers. Under resolver you can see all of your VPCs, and you can configure inbound endpoints and outbound endpoints. So what does it look like? If you look up in Route 53 console resolver console here, this is the inbound endpoint and this is the outbound endpoint. Your network is this guy, and the traffic is coming from that to your VPC. This is your VPC, this is inbound endpoint, and that from that endpoint is going to resolver, right? That's basically it's routing the traffic to your resolver. And what resolver does is it is resolving from VPC. It's going to this forwarding rule for each domain, and it goes back to outbound endpoint, and then it's resolving the DNS for these two domains. That's how it happens. So eventually, whatever you see here, the traffic is going between VPCs and resolvers, whatever. Eventually, the outcome of that is figuring out the IP address of your domain. That's all. That's all it needs eventually, because that's what we call it as DNS query. What is the IP address of this domain? So these are some of the basic concepts of Route 53. Just for tutorial purposes, I'm not able to go into detailed discussion of what is record type A, and what is the type of record type of alias, um, canonical type, all of that. Maybe I will create a dedicated video just to discuss Route 53 concepts in detail. But I think this kind of knowledge is enough to understand what Route 53 does, and what domain registration does, and how does a DNS query look like. So with those core concepts, you guys can continue to use at your work. That's all, guys, for today. Um, and in the next video, I'll come up with another service. I think we pretty much covered the services under network. Let's quickly recap. If you go to network section here, um, we cover VPC, CloudFront, and Route 53. Next, we'll talk about API Gateway. And so far, if you look up in these videos, we pretty much covered the core concepts. We go to the playlist, Root Expert, and here starting from the beginning, we have pretty much covered about EC2, VPCs, subnets, CloudFront, and Route 53 so far. From these core concepts, we can quickly go over other features in the upcoming videos. And stay tuned, guys. If you like this video, please click on like button, and do subscribe, and you'll get to see a lot more videos like this on different kinds of cloud concepts like AWS, Azure, and GCP, all other technologies, other programming languages. So thank you again. See you guys later. Bye.